Oh, really?
Vampire! We take your candy!
Count Dracula.
I am Dracula. And I bid you welcome, Mr. Hunt, to my house. Come in.
Our first award goes to the vampire for most blood drained in a single evening.
The strength of the vampire is that people will not believe in him.
Good evening, YouTube. So we're going to try some different lighting this week and see if that helps with the focusing issue I've been having. A couple people reached out to me and gave me some different ideas. So we've got brighter lighting. As much as I love to record in dim lighting, it's probably not a good idea. So we have some different lighting and we'll see how things go. I want to be able to have this neon sign on every week, but it may be messing up the focus, so we will find out this week. Okay. Heat is off. Dog is at my feet. Her collar is off. So I think we are okay to go ahead and record. I've already uploaded the opening song and tested the mic. Feeling good about this one? We'll find out, right? But whatever happens, we're going to go through it together. Good evening, my fellow vampire lovers. The sun is going down, and you know what that means. It's time for me to record another episode of my podcast, The Beautiful Dead. As always, I am your host, Lena Nazari. If you've listened to this before, you know all of this, so I apologize. If you haven't, go to lenanazari.com. You can find everything there. Appearances, how to sign up for Street Team and Fanged Family, how to reach out to me. Yes, I do respond. And yes, I do listen to what you guys request. I get them on the list. I can't do them all at one time, so please bear with me, but I do pay attention. Thank you to those who are commenting on the videos because that helps me out so much. And for those of you who went to the Spotify, the Eternal Night Shift series Spotify, thank you so much. How fun, right? I love music. I love listening to that soundtrack, and manifest, baby. Like, manifest your dreams. You do it, I do it, manifest. Okay. For the person who told me I'm sick of you talking about your books, okay. Can we stop shaming people for being proud of accomplishments? My God, like, especially us women, if we lose weight, we're shamed. If we gain weight, we're shamed. If we're proud of our bodies, we're shamed. I'm proud of my books, okay? I'm proud of them. I genuinely think they're very good. I'm going to talk about them. So, third book is coming out in May. You're probably wondering if I'm going to give you a release date on this video, but come here, everybody, even listeners. I'm recording this early. I'm recording this a couple weeks early because I have so much happening in May and June. I really need to record ahead to make sure I stay on top of things. And I don't want the same Kindred debacle to happen again where things are uploaded late because there was a disaster. So behind the scenes, everybody, I'm recording this a couple weeks early. So by the time this video comes out, yeah, I may already know the release date, but I can't tell you, I can't fake it. So if you want to know, then you need to go check out my website and all that stuff. Okay, I am so excited for this. My goodness, like, what a buildup, right? It took forever to track it down. I was so excited to go pick it up. Here, I have it right here, Shadow of a Vampire. In honor of what we're talking about, I had to pull out a vampire tea that I have talked about before, which is NosferaTea. NosferaTea. Love a good pun. And of course it ties in with the fact that we're watching Shadow of the Vampire. And if you've heard me talk about this tea before, you know that when I open it and I smell it and I drink it, I always think of like a trail mix, like out hiking and you have the trail mix in this Ziploc bag. Great memories, great feelings. So that is what I am drinking this evening. All right. Oh, side note. So when I went to pick up Shadow of a Vampire, while I was there, of course I had to go check out the horror section. And there was a few vampire DVDs that were some obscure ones. And I was like having memories unlocked of some of these vampire movies I saw 30 years ago. So I think I want to do a whole month of just obscure vampire DVDs. And I'm thinking June. So stay tuned to hear about that. But that will be a really fun series of videos because some of those are, I would be surprised if some of you have heard some of these DVDs that are now sitting upstairs in my bedroom. If you're watching the video, you'll see my hair is pulled back, which I don't often do, but that's because after I'm done recording, I have to go clean my house because unlike some vampires, I don't have a human servant looking at you, Dracula, to do all my stuff for me, okay? And even vampires have to dust, so it is what it is. So the hair is pulled back. Let's get to it without further ado. Shadow of a Vampire. Massive spoiler alerts. I'm gonna ruin stuff for you. That being said, I understand it's not easy to get your hands on this, so I feel bad if you watch this or listen to this and then go watch the movie and you haven't seen the movie before, but it's up to you. You can stop it right now and then wait until you can watch Shadow of the Vampire and then listen to the review. That's entirely up to you, but again, spoiler alert. Let's summarize. Hopefully you guys are aware of the movie Nosferatu, or else you're going to be very confused, but this is based on the making of the real movie Nosferatu. In 1921, German director F.W. Murnau is shooting Nosferatu, an unauthorized version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Murnau keeps his team in the dark about their schedule and the actor playing the vampire Count Orlok. It is left to the film's other main actor, Gustav, to explain that the lead is an obscure German theater performer named Max Schreck, who is a character actor. To involve himself fully in the role, Schreck will only appear amongst the cast and crew in makeup, will only be filmed at night, and will never break character. After filming scenes in a studio with leading actress Greta, who was displeased about leaving Berlin, Murnau takes his cast and crew to a remote inn in Czechoslovakia to film on location. The landlady becomes distressed at Murnau removing crucifixes around the inn, and the cameraman Wolfgang falls into a strange hypnotic state. Gustav discovers a bottle of blood amongst the team's food supplies, and someone delivers a caged ferret in the night to a not yet fully revealed Schreck. One night, Murnau rushes his team up to a nearby old Slovak castle for the first scene with the vampire. Schreck appears for the first time, and his appearance and behavior impress and disturb them. The film's producer, Albin, is confused when Murnau tells him that he originally found Schreck in the castle. Soon after the completion of the scene, Wolfgang is found collapsed in the tunnel in which Schreck has receded. Whilst filming a dinner scene when Gustav and Orlok accidentally cuts his finger. Schreck reacts wildly and then drinks from Gustav's wound. The lights fail, and when they return, Schreck is at Wolfgang's neck. Albin orders filming ended for the night, and the crew rushes from the castle, leaving Schreck behind. My throat is dry. Alone, Schreck examines the camera equipment, fascinated by the footage of the sunrise. With Wolfgang near death, Murnau is forced to bring in another cinematographer, Fritz. After chastising Schreck in private for attacking his crew members and threatening him with harm if he does not control himself in Murnau's absence, a threat that Schreck challenges due to his immortality. While Murnau returns to Berlin to calm financiers of the film, Schreck approaches Albin and screenwriter Henrik. They believe he is still in character, and Shrek points out Dracula's loneliness and the sadness of him trying to remember how to do otherwise mundane chores that he has not needed to perform for centuries. When they ask how he became a vampire, Shrek says it was a woman. Shrek snatches a bat and viciously sucks at its blood. Grau and Galen, thanks to their drunkenness on schnapps, are impressed by what they assume is talented acting. Later that night, Shrek attacks and kills a crew member on the film set. The production moves to the island of Helgoland to film the final scenes, and Murnau, in a laudanum-induced stupor, admits to Albin and Fritz that Shrek is an actual vampire. Not just that, but in return for his cooperation, Murnau has promised the vampire Greta, his actress. They realize they are trapped on the island, leaving no choice but to complete the film that night. On set, Greta becomes hysterical after noticing that Shrek casts no reflection. Murnau, Albin, and Fritz drug her with Murnau's laudanum and film as Shrek feeds on Greta with the laudanum in her blood, putting Shrek to sleep. At dawn, the three attempt to open a door and let sunlight in to destroy Shrek, but discover that the vampire has previously cut the chain to the mechanism. Fritz and Albin attack Shrek only to be killed. Murnau, meanwhile, resumes filming and, crazed, completely ignores the death of his colleagues and the malicious glare Shrek is giving him. Instead, he instructs Shrek to return to his mark for another take. Shrek is told, if it's not in frame, it didn't exist. Shrek returns to feed on Greta as Murnau films. Galen and the crew arrive and lift the door, destroying Shrek with the sunlight. Having become completely obsessed with the film, Murnau asks for an end slate to his rattled crew. After they oblige, he stops the camera and calmly says, I think we have it. That is Shadow of the Vampire. Ooh. So, we have some amazing crossovers. Udo Kier was in this, and he was also Dragonetti in Blade. And if you don't know Dragonetti, he is one of the elders that Deacon Frost takes out into the sunlight and kills. He is also in a movie called Dracula 3000. Willem Dafoe was Nosferatu in this, and he had a small part in the movie The Hunger with Susan Sarandon and David Bowie. And Carrie Elwes was in this, and also Lord Arthur Holmes in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Bit of trivia. This is the only time that somebody was nominated for an Oscar for playing a vampire. The only time. In all of Oscars history, the only time someone was nominated for an Oscar playing a vampire. Relationships to humans. Vampires are not known to humans, except when they go to this little like Czechoslovakian village, Slovak village. Clearly the villagers are very superstitious. They know there's a vampire around. They're not too psyched about it, so they know about vampires. But everybody else, the Germans, the English, they're all like, oh, he's just in character. Okay. Yeah. So they use humans for food. That's it. End of story. You are food. Appearance. We only see Shrek in this. So you know what Nosferatu looks like. Bald, pointed ears, long, thin fingers with very long, dirty fingernails. And he's drastically different from human appearing. Fangs. So they're two sharp teeth directly in the front, and they're not even full fangs. They're like elongated, sharpened teeth. They almost look rat-like. Now, I'm sure you're expecting me to say, oh, I don't like this. I want them. Okay, this is the OG, okay? This is Nosferatu. He can have whatever fangs he wants. At least he has fangs. Looking at you, Edward Cullen. So at least he has some kind of fang to pierce the flesh. Blood. Oh, this vamp is all about the blood. Like I said, he snatches a bat out of the air bites its head off, spits it off to the side, and then sucks this bat dry while it's still flapping its wings. And the two nearby drunk humans just think he's in character, and they kind of applaud his commitment to the part. Food. So we never see him eat, but we do see him drink liquor. He actually drinks schnapps with the crew next to him, and he takes several big gulps and also makes a comment about the schnapps and how good it is. Sunlight. Absolutely no sunlight for this vampire. It is ultimately sunlight that does kill him, exactly like in the film. So the implication is that the director shoots this real vampire dying in the sunlight, and that is what we see in Nosferatu the movie. Sleep. He sleeps in a coffin in the basement of the castle, very old school, and at one point in time the crew like stumbles down into the bowels of the castle, clearly inebriated or under the influence of something, and they like find the crypt and they're like, oh, he sleeps in there, and oh my god, it's crazy. Holy items. No crosses for this vampire. Like I said, the lady had to go remove all the crucifixes from the inn before he could come in. Rules. He does not cast a reflection, we know that for sure. And I think that he abides by the rule of they cannot cross running water, because he throws an absolute fit about getting on a ship and refuses to get on the ship. He said, I will not sail, I will not sail. They eventually have to build a ship like on the land of his castle to do these ship scenes because he refuses to sail. Powers. He doesn't have powers or he doesn't show them. He's not even fast. We all know what Nosferatu moves like. He drags his feet, he moves very slowly. He'd be very easy to outrun. He cannot mesmerize, he can't turn into a bat, he can't do any of that stuff. He does not appear to have any powers short of immortality. How are they made? So he actually tells the story to these two drunk crew members. He says, it was woman. But then that's it. That's all we hear. So he says, we spent the night together. She left me in bed. And now it's been so long, I don't even remember what she looks like. We never get to hear how the turning happens. We don't know if it's a full embrace. We don't know if it's just a bite. But he says that he is too old to make more vampires. And then he corrects himself and says, although I seem to remember that I never could. So I don't know what that means. Maybe he has some kind of vampiric impotence. Maybe, I don't know, maybe only the women can make other vampires. It's never elaborated upon, so I can't really even speculate with this one because there's just the one vampire. Heartbeat and breathing. This is not addressed. However, this vampire is old school. Can't cross running waters. Can't cast a reflection. Can't be around crosses. Drinks blood. Sleeps in a coffin. I'm going to assume no heartbeat, no breathing. I feel pretty confident saying that. How do they die? Classic. Sunlight. Stake to the heart. Beheading. Or all of the above. And like I said, eventually it is sunlight that takes him out. Are they good or are they bad? We only ever see the one vampire. It is clear that he is intended to be bad. However, he is just following his nature. He's doing what vampires do, what he has to do to stay alive. And it's actually the human director who's offering up his human actress as sacrifice, as payment to get this vampire on camera. And he's sort of just like playing on this vampire's nature. We could get into a whole philosophical debate about good versus evil. We're not going to do that. Tropes I love and tropes I hate. Okay. First thing I love when vampires refer to humans as mortals. And not only that, but in this, he says it with such disdain. He goes, don't talk to me like that, mortal. Fabulous. Love it. But more than that, I love the trope of going meta. And when I say that in this, what I mean is the actor who's playing Shrek, who's playing Nosferatu, which is a real movie that we have watched And in this movie, where he's making a movie, he has read the book Dracula and talks about how he found it to be very sad. Very meta, and I am here for it. Tropes I hate. I can't pick anything in this movie because everything in this movie is done for a purpose. Everything has a purpose. There's a reason behind it. There's nothing that's just thrown in there. There's no tropes that didn't fit. There was nothing that made me groan. It's all very purposeful. The ratings. Okay. I know what you guys are probably thinking. You're like, oh man, she's just gonna rate everything so high because clearly she loves this movie. But nay. I am taking this objectively, as I always do with the ratings. So here we go. How scary or evil is Nosferatu in Shadow of a Vampire? He doesn't fly. He can't hypnotize. He can't shapeshift. He's not fast. He's not stronger than them per se. He is bound by the sunlight. He can't easily go out and walk amongst humans because he looks very, very different. He stands out, okay? It's insinuated that there's not many of his kind. As far as we know, he might be the only one. So I'm not concerned that these vampires are going to wipe out the human race. So with all of that, calculating all these factors, this vampire gets a 4 out of 10 for scariness and evil. I mean, he would be pretty easy to evade. They just happen to get trapped in a bad spot with him because their own kind gets them into this bad situation. How sexy or alluring is the vampire in Shadow of the Vampire? I don't think you guys are going to be shocked to hear that this vampire only gets the 1 honorary vamp point, okay? Not only does he not have a lure or pull to him, he actively repulses humans. They are terrified of him. They don't want to be around him. When he finally gets his hands on the object of his desire, the woman he's been talking about this whole time finally gets his hands on her. Other than a very lovely breast massage while he's feeding on her, he appears to only care about the blood. So don't think that this vampire is going to seduce you and leave you in bed satisfied with memories of the best night of your... No, he's going to kill you. He's going to drain you and throw you out a window and not think twice about you. So 1 out of 10 onks for sexiness and allure. My thoughts. I don't genuinely say this word often, but this movie is genius. I use that word for What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, because that was also and remains to be genius. This is another one of those, okay? It's incredible. The acting, the writing, the set design, the makeup, the costumes, the everything is perfection. If you are someone who loves vampire movies and you have a friend or a family member or a partner who doesn't really like vampire movies, this is one that you guys can watch together. It is so entertaining. There's so much happening. The vampire is central to it, but he's not all there is to it. I laughed out loud several times, and it had to do with the jokes regarding acting and the making of movies and how shallow people in the industry are. It made me laugh out loud several times. The vampire made me laugh out loud. You wouldn't think it could be funny, but it definitely has some funny moments to it. And it's such an interesting twist on a real movie that had real gossip that actor was actually a vampire. This was real gossip that came out at the time. And they said he played it so well because he was really a vampire. That was probably just rumors to sell tickets, which I'm here for, do what you gotta do, but they took that and they ran with it. And what an interesting twist and what a great way to do it. And the casting is perfection. It is so, so good. If you haven't seen it, you have to. Like I said, it's not easy to get your hands on it, but like I said in a previous video, find somebody who has every DVD they ever bought, see if they have it. It's possible, or go on Amazon. You're gonna have to buy it used, and I think it was like $40 on Amazon. Or if you're lucky, you have a place near you like the one that I have where they can just track stuff down for you. But you have to watch it. I promise you won't regret it. Okay, next week we are going to talk about a movie that has been on my list for a very long time. I have been told by many people, some of them very respected people in horror, who have told me, you have to watch this movie. And for some reason, I just have never sat down to watch it. But that is the one that I'm going to do next week, and that is Guillermo del Toro's Cronos. Now, right now it's available on HBO Max. There might be other places you can watch it, but that's where I will be watching it. So that is what we're going to review next week. You have a week to watch it. Heads up, it is in Spanish, so you have to read subtitles. For those of us who took Spanish in high school, hopefully you can keep up with it. But I will have to turn on subtitles because my Spanish is rusty. But that is what I will be watching. I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you have wonderful weather wherever you are. And I will be back, as always, next week, hopefully with some updates, hopefully with lots of good news. In the meantime, I wish you wicked hugs and bloody kisses. Good evening. Woo! We made it through a video without any major catastrophes. Now, who knows? I think this whole thing recorded, and I may go to edit and realize that nothing recorded, or that the quality is bad, or God only knows. So I am gonna go clean and get some things done, and then I will be back to edit this, and hopefully I won't have to re-record anything, but if I do, it is what it is. Thank you everybody for coming back to the YouTube channel, for watching, especially if you're watching every week, for the people who are commenting on the videos, because that helps me so much. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I cannot wait to see you guys next week. And hopefully I will see some of you in June at my appearance in Philadelphia, or in August in Pittsburgh. But I need to go. The house is not going to clean itself. So I wish you wicked hugs and bloody kisses. I love you guys. Good evening.